Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Joshua Zuber, and I'm a spokesperson for AAA Texas. We want to thank Mothers Against Drunk Driving, as well as the Houston Police Department for joining us today, the Houston Health Department for hosting this event with us, as well as for all of you for being here to help raise awareness about impaired driving dangers ahead of all of the big games that we're going to have coming up surrounding March Madness and the Final Four this week and next. Just behind us is NRG Stadium, where the games will take place and be seen by thousands in the stands and millions at home, at bars and restaurants all around the country. Many folks may consume alcohol while they're watching the games, whether they're at a bar, restaurant, or at a house party. And that's why we're all here, to raise awareness about the dangers of drinking and driving and encourage fans to make a plan ahead of time to avoid needless crashes, injuries, and deaths. More than 1,100 people were killed on Texas roads in 2022 because someone decided it was okay to drink alcohol and then get behind the wheel. That's an increase of 6% from the prior year. Impaired driving remains a very serious problem to this day, especially here in Houston and in Harris County, where we have one of the highest, if not the highest number of fatal crashes involving a drunk driver throughout the country. Our members of law enforcement, they do an outstanding job at keeping us safe, but they can't do it alone. It requires a community effort, a movement, with all members of society playing an active role to stop impaired driving. We must start at home. Have conversation with your children, your extended family members, your neighbors, and those in the community, and make them aware that driving while impaired is dangerous and preventable. In an effort to prevent these needless deaths and injuries, AAA, MAD, and HPD are joining here today to remind people to have a safe ride home if they plan on having alcohol while watching the big games ahead coming up this week, especially since our city is hosting this major sporting event. So as we get ready to host the Final Four behind us, and as families and students are getting ready for summer break, AAA Texas is reminding you to never drive impaired. There are so many ways to avoid impaired driving, such as having a ride-sharing app on your phone or a taxi company phone number stored in your phone. Arrange to have a sober designated driver to get you home, or perhaps consider staying overnight if possible. And always know how medications impact your ability to drive as well. Finally, if you see someone about to get behind the wheel when impaired, speak up. You can prevent that person from injuring themselves or someone important in your life from experiencing the never-ending pain that comes from losing a loved one to a situation that is 100% preventable. Thank you so much. Now I'll introduce Tess Rowland, the National President of Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Thank you so much, Josh. Hello, my name is Tess Rowland, and I'm the National President of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It's an honor to be here alongside Chief Troy Finner of the Houston Police Department and Joshua Zuber, the AAA Texas spokesperson, as we work to save lives from the 100% preventable crime of drunk and drugged driving. Consider this. Nationwide, every 45 minutes, someone is killed by an impaired driver. That means during a college basketball game, at least one person's life will be cut short. Recent studies now show that Texas ranks 5th nationally for having the most drunk driving crashes. These grim statistics represent real people with families and bright futures, cut too short from a crash that quite simply never had to happen. Drunk driving crashes aren't accidents or mistakes. Drunk driving is a choice with 100% irreversible and devastating consequences. In my role as National President of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, I represent these victims and survivors in the work that I do daily. And the truth is that no one understands the impacts of this crime until it happens to them. I, for one, never thought that I would be here standing today until I was hit head on by an alleged drunk driver, changing the course of my life forever. I was driving to my dream job as a television reporter in Panama City Beach, Florida. It was about 3 a.m. and I was on my way to my early morning shift. The driver that hit me was traveling the wrong way, coming straight at me. And in a flash, I was blinded by the headlights. I almost died that morning, and the first responders on scene said that it was a miracle that I was not decapitated. My injuries were extensive. The entire right side of my body was so injured they considered amputating my leg, and doctors told me that my shoulder would never be the same. I had to relearn how to walk and how to use my right arm again. I suffered injuries internally as well, and today I live in chronic pain. To date, I've had 7 surgeries. I have 4 very large scars, metal throughout my entire right side, and limited mobility within my arm. And doctors say it's just a matter of time until I'll need another surgery. And with March Madness in full swing, you may find yourself attending a game or at the very least hosting a watch party. And your plans may involve alcohol, which is perfectly fine given that you're of the legal age of 21 or older. But I can't stress this enough. If you drink, do not drive. You have to make a plan, and that starts before the first drink. You must plan to have a designated driver and know that is not the person that drinks the least. Or if that's not an option, use a rideshare service. And if that's still not an option, I encourage you to use public transportation to get to where you need to go safely. Do not be the reason that someone cannot return home to their loved ones because you made the choice to drive while under the influence. And if you see someone get in the car, or you may encounter this driver on the road that you believe may not be sober, I urge you to call 911. I leave you with this. Though your March Madness bracket may get busted, mine likely has, considering that I had U of H winning the title, but don't you get busted because of your actions behind the wheel. And if you find yourself asking the question, am I okay to drive? Well, then you have your answer. And that answer is no. Drunk driving never has to happen. It's a choice. Please do not be the reason that someone does not make it home to their loved ones. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Chief Troy Finner.
Thank you very much. I always speak about, and thank everybody for being out here this morning. It's drizzling out here, but it's important that we stand in unity. And I want to thank 2 great partners, Mothers Against Drunk Driving and also AAA. And our national president is now, what I've learned today, is a Houstonian. Yes. So welcome to Houston. But people never think about it until it impacts you or one of your family members. This is 100% preventable. It's just about making a plan, being responsible. Have a great time. We got a beautiful city with a lot of entertainment events around this entire weekend for the Final Four. We just ask everybody to please think ahead. Don't just drink or impaired is just not drinking. Sometimes you can take medication or other drugs or whatnot. We just want everybody safe, and we'll continue to partner. I cannot say anything better than they said it. They went over the stats, but one I'll add, Harris County, unfortunately, Houston-Harris County area, we lead the nation in DWI deaths, and that's something that we're not proud about, and we ask that everybody that lives in our city, the visitors that are coming, be responsible, set a plan in place. Get with your family members and your friends and share the message with them. Ride share, metro, taxis, whatever you need to do. Just do not be impaired and drink. And a message and a warning. We're going to have a lot of police officers out here, marked and unmarked vehicles. If you drive impaired, you're going to stand a good chance of going to jail. So look, I'm just proud to stand here. I know it's raining out here, and I don't want to keep everybody forever, but look, let's just all be safe. Let's celebrate responsibly, and that's all that we're asking today. Thank you so much, and to share your experience, that's very powerful, and we welcome you to Houston. Thank you so much, Madam President.
Thank
all right?
You.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. And that concludes our press conference, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. If you need some one-on-one interviews, just let us know, as well as we do have a Spanish-speaking representative from Mothers Against Drunk Driving as well, if anybody needs that.
Can I just ask a quick question? Is there something being done to help with people getting around, additional options for people
Yeah, we're going to have a press conference here just, I think, in the next hour about Final Four. So we'll be sending out information on that. Thanks for asking that. It's important that the city and all officials, NCAA, we've talked about that in our plan to make sure people have options, and we help them. So thanks for asking that.
And then a follow-up to you, how many officers are you guys additionally planning?
Hundreds of officers from our local, state, and federal partnership. Hundreds. You know, I never go into specific numbers, but the numbers will be sufficient to keep our city safe.
Is there an additional challenge with events going on in NRG and also downtown as well?
No, we're accustomed to that. We hold large events all the time. This will be our third time hosting this, so our plan is in place and with all our partners, and we'll talk about that in the next press conference. I think it's at 11 o'clock, so hopefully you can make it and everybody else. So, okay? Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Leo.
Yeah. All right.